Hello, everybody. Let's do a few things here. This from here. Remove that blocks. There we go. We're on the air. How is everybody? Hope you are all right. And welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Shortwave show. Let's make sure everything's all right. And it seems like it. Today we're going to talk about something that I got that is plugged into an antenna and into a console. Texan PL368, which is right now on 5990. So this is what you hear from this radio. This is China radio in Spanish. Let's check out if we hear anything else. So nothing there. Let's check out 6,000. Well, 6,000 is my computer making noise. So we have Radio Rebelde Cuba 5025. WRMI 5850. WWCR 5935.
Now you got to hire
5950 WRMI.
And they don't come cheap. He says, I have not read my house.
Anyways, we're going to talk a little more about this little orange thing in a couple of minutes. So we're going to check it out. No, actually, there's more to the radio than the color, Erica Tra. Actually, it is interesting. And I'll actually compare it to the Counticom GP5, which is its main, or Texan PL365, which is, I would say, which is what it replaces, basically, which has the same form factor. So we're going to talk about that and compare it, give my impressions on it. You'll see. So welcome aboard. This is the Wednesday edition of the Shortwave Radio Show. We are live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And we talk about radio. We are live twice a week on Wednesday at 0 hours UTC. That's 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's technically Thursday for a lot of people around the world. We are also live on Saturday usually, but remember, this week, Friday and Saturday is the virtual event for the NASWA Winter Shortwave Festival, which I am registered and a lot of you are. So the show will be on Sunday, not on Saturday, exceptionally for this weekend, so that we can actually attend all the sessions and watch everything that there is to see. So that is going to be Sunday, exceptionally this weekend, for the Shortwave show. So just remember that I won't be live Saturday. It's going to be Sunday, and it's going to be at Sunday, February the 28th. And you will be, of course, will be at 20 hours UTC as usual on this coming Sunday, February the 28th. So, I hope that you enjoy the show today. There is a chat room that you can join if you have a Gmail account. Chat room with wonderful people that are just amazing fans of the show. And we talk about those, and you can talk with those amazing people and ask questions and share with each other. It's a lot of fun, and it's a place where I think everybody can feel welcome, and that's something we have a hard time seeing a lot on the internet. A place where everybody feels welcome, and this is the place where everybody feels welcome. So hope that you enjoy. There is a Facebook group. When the live show is over, of course, you might have some kind of withdrawal syndrome. And that means that you might want to have more. And that's where the Facebook group is actually there. Facebook group is official SWL channel. We're almost at 1,500 members. Last time I checked today was we were missing 10 people to be at 1,500 members. Why not join in? And it's a great place where people are respectful and people have fun sharing with each other. It's really a great place to be, and very respectful. And this is what I like, and this is what I want of what I do, is a bunch of people that can talk with each other, but nobody is making you feel that they're better than any other, so that you can actually without any fear of being laughed at or anything, you can feel confident, you can feel fine asking whatever question. You got to remember, we all started somewhere at some point, and we didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. You read a little manual, you read a couple of things, but in reality, you don't really know that much about what is all around us in shortwave, what it's all about. And it's kind of cool to learn and to have a bunch of great people help us along the way with a new hobby, or whatever we want to learn in this hobby. It's already complicated enough not to have the complex moments of interaction with other people that aren't happy. And this, I think, is if we have to give probably a really positive score of what I do, is the fact that here in the live show, on the YouTube channel and the Facebook group, it's great people, and we have no place for idiots that just want to troll, or idiots that just don't like who we are, or that think they know everything, they know it all, and that we are all idiots. Well, no, this is not the place for that. We don't have a place for that. We have a place for wonderful people that love our hobby and that share together our passion for it. I think this is the only thing that is important: having fun with radio. So okay, we're Wednesday, and of course I did test a little bit the Texan PL368. The Texan PL368, of course, is I didn't have too much of the testing because we had a couple of days of propagation that was kind of iffy. So I did play around with it, but I have a pretty good idea of how it performs and what's nice. First thing that's interesting is that I had seen some people that purchased the Chinese version, like I did, that had a few bugs in it, including the reverse tuning bug on single sideband. What's interesting is I seem to have absolutely no bugs on mine. I haven't seen or encountered that reverse tuning problem. Single sideband tunes perfectly well. I haven't had any issues. Performance has been pretty good. So maybe my Chinese version is an updated firmware version that has fixed some of the stuff. Maybe it's close to being released officially, and that is cool. Even though mine works perfectly, I still would say to everybody to wait before purchasing it. Wait till they have the export version for it. I think that's an important thing. Before everybody asks, yes, I do have my drink for today. Well, tonight is a vodka and cranberry juice. So cheers, everybody. And whatever you're having, tea, coffee, cocoa, water, iced tea, Coca-Cola, It's fine. Okay, chat room. We have the blind picker. Nice to have you here, Rob. It's always a pleasure to have you on board, my friend. We have Matt, MDK2. Nice to have you here from Denver, Colorado. David, KJ4CMY. Nice to have you on board. And it's time for the Paul the Cat Show with co-host Jill. Rob Fiducia, nice to have you here from Phoenix, Arizona. Cool to have everybody on board. We have Randall Klontz, nice to have you here from Northeast Illinois. We have Jerry DX, nice to have you on board, my friend. William Helms from Florida, nice to have you here. Canadian radio TV guy, nice to have you on board. Tom DXer, WPE2QED from the Hudson Valley, New York. Hey, hello, my friend. 45 unit, nice to have you here. With a comfortable 74 in Florida. That is nice. That's pretty nice. Here it's snowing and we're about at 32 Fahrenheit. We're supposed to have about 4 inches of snow on the ground by morning. So that's going to be interesting. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Keegan, XN80Xer, nice to have you here from Northwest Arkansas. 60 Fahrenheit and sunny. Wow. That's almost summer. Michael W., nice to have you here. Aerial Imaging, nice to have you here. TVDXer, bonjour et bienvenue. J'espère que ça va bien toi aussi. Oui, ça va très bien de mon côté. I'm a little distracted because I got a Commodore. So just to divert a little bit off Shortwave. I am looking at a demo on the screen in front of me because I have a Commodore 128. And for those that don't know what that is it's a Commodore 128. It's kind of a form of an upgrade of Commodore 64, but it has a 64 mode in it, so you can run Commodore 64 stuff. And I had ordered a few months ago a little drive that reads SD cards. So you can actually put disk images of the games and of whatever you want in the SD card, and the little device actually kind of translate that as if it was a disk drive. So I can actually play and load whatever program in the Commodore. So right now it's a Commodore 128 demo that's actually showing on the screen with all sorts of graphics and effects and music and stuff. So I'm kind of happy. I've been playing around a little bit with that since yesterday. It took 4 months, a pretty good 4 months before it got here. It was very long. Came from the Netherlands. I noticed that everything that came from Europe lately has been extremely long compared to things that you buy from China and so on. So anyways, I'm having fun with that also. Kind of played a few games that brought me back as a teenager when I was playing on a Commodore, and really a lot of fun. So anyways, what else do we have? What else do we have? We have Eric Cottrell. Bonjour, hi. Nice to have you on board. And he's got a net at 8 p.m. No problem there. No problem there. What else do we have? Mitch, nice to have you here from Buckeye, Arizona. Pretty cool. Aerial Imaging, curious to hear what you think that compares to the 330. Same guts in a different form factor. What else do we have? Joe Rodman, nice to have you here from Chicago area. Cyberflyer 1, nice to have you here from England. We have. So blind picker is, of course, Rob in Connecticut, W0RAB. Blind Ham. We have RJ88 Dakota. Nice to have you on board. We have just Gaetan Bellil. Bonjour et bienvenue. Nice to have you here. Jet Crafter. Nice to have you on board. Waiting the arrival of an MLA30. You're going to have a lot of fun with that. It's a great antenna. So if it's noisy where you are, you're going to be very surprised at that antenna, I can tell you. Gaetan Bellil is near Sainte-Sophie, Quebec. Pretty cool to see some people from not very far away from Montreal and people all over the world at the same time. Dean Hintz, nice to have you here, Dean. I've been a Shortwave fan for a long time. Question: where can I get a Texan PL330 with the updated firmware? The Ethon site says it's sold out. You'll have to wait for the Ethon Co. website to have a new batch, because the only place you can be absolutely sure that you have the PL330 with the update firmware is Ethon Co. So you'll have to be patient and wait until they have some new in stock. I'm, at the price they sell them, I'm not surprised that they're out of stock. They probably are selling a lot of those. I'm sure they're selling more PL330s than they are selling PL990X. I mean, there's a big price difference, and it's pretty decent radio, honestly. Rufus, nice to have you here from Laurentian Valley, Ontario, and just got 15 centimeters of snow, 3 hours. Here we're supposed to have about 4 inches in the next few hours. Dmitry Lavrinovich, nice to have you on board from Minnesota. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Northern Dawn, nice to have you on board. Says Shortwave Convention program looks quite interesting. Yeah, lots of interesting stuff on the Hamfest coming up. The Hamfest, the Shortwave Fest of the Nassau Shortwave Fest this weekend. Lots of very interesting topics. So there's going to be a lot of interesting things to watch and listen to and hear. For sure. I think it's going to be great to check that out. I'll have to adapt a little bit my schedule. There's a lot of little things I need to do, but they've actually made it so that, in between there's some space where people can do other stuff before watching another event or, having to get into another virtual event. So they have more than 200 participants that have registered with their $5. So that's pretty cool. And what they were saying is that they're looking at the possibility of maybe having kind of a hybrid event, because in 2022, if all goes well with the vaccine and everything, we probably will be back at a kind of normal life, and the Shortwave Fest will be once again in Pennsylvania. But depending on how it goes this weekend, they're thinking of maybe from the future now there'll be there's going to be an in-person event in Pennsylvania like they did every year, but there's going to be also a virtual side to it. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing looking forward. And I think that's if we have to take positive sides to the pandemic, is that a lot of events are going to be modified, are going to be different for the from now on, because of the virtual side that was possible. And I think a lot of events will probably be thinking, what, now we can have also people online participating in some of the events where before it was not, there was nothing that pushed anyone to do so. So it's kind of cool to see this and using technology. Rob got a question about the XH Data D808. I fully charge it and the battery dies in 2 weeks without use. I haven't noticed that in my XH Data. One thing for sure is it doesn't hurt to plug it in as much as you can when you want to make sure the battery's always charged. Because I personally have not. See, my XH Data right now hasn't been used in what, at least. Mine hasn't been used in at least about a week, I would say. And the battery, if I look at the battery indicator, still full scale on the display here. So I don't know. Maybe your batteries, the battery has a problem because mine seems to really old. And I've seen some receivers that do have a draining problem with the battery, but the XH data is, I don't know. Maybe you can check out, 18 the 18650 batteries are very easy to find, and it's so inexpensive. You can maybe check out for a couple of batteries to change, because I haven't had any problems with it. And it shouldn't be like that. You should be using it, not letting the radio do nothing for a couple of weeks. You should be using it more. Rodrigo Galter, nice to have you here from Brazil. And he's using a Texan PL660 receiver. Great little radio. Chuck Yunkin, nice to have you here. Yep, we're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about where I got it for sure. Here's a drink I haven't tried. Vodka and pickle juice. I'm not sure I want to try it. Although it could be surprising, but I'm not sure. Rusty Rails, nice to have you here from Arkansas. What else do we have? Well, I think maybe what I would say is the 18650 is probably. But if it's 2 weeks, I wouldn't go crazy with that. You just make sure that you charge it regularly, and that's it. I think I don't find that much of a problem. There are a few radios I have that do that draw a lot of that, will draw power to the batteries, and as long as you just remember to charge it, honestly. But I would say it's probably more of the radio. Make sure that you haven't one of the things that's very important on these radios is if you store it somewhere where it could be the keypad can be pressed, make sure that it's not pressing the light button and the light is always on, because that will drain your battery fast. Joe Tyson, nice to have you here from North Carolina, KM4WRQ. John Hummel, nice to have you here from Saskatchewan, RT Music Productions, nice to have you here. We have Simon Templar, nice to have you on board, my friend. We have Northern Dawn. Have you owned many gaming systems? Actually, consoles are not what I had when I was a teenager. I had computers. So I apart from Pong, because I had that Pong game with the two controllers, the two knobs. I had a Commodore VIC-20, a Commodore 128, an Amiga 500, and I've pretty much always gamed on my computers rather than on gaming consoles. Richard Bidner, nice to have you here from North Texas. We have Primitive X, nice to have you here from Missouri. We have, what do we have? David, will the presentations for the Winter Shortwave Fest be available on YouTube? Nope. What's happening and what's complicated with that is the fact that some of the presenters do not wish to have online presence. So a lot of them do not want to have a recording of what they'll be doing. And so what they were saying is maybe what they will do is for those that have paid their $5 and only those, there could be made available some of the sessions, video sessions, but only for people that have participated, and it won't be available for anybody else. But they're still looking at the details, because apparently a lot of them don't really want to be live for everybody to see afterwards. Keegan says he's receiving with his dad's the 9JEF's beverage antenna, 500 feet of wire running along the ground. Cool. RJD Dakota says, like the form factor of the PL368, love the addition of the numeric keypad. Megan Dalmage, nice to have you here from Shorewood Park, Alberta, Canada. Joe Gomez, nice to have you here from San Diego, California. James Farley from New Jersey. Eric says, I doubt a Winter Shortwave Fest will be on YouTube. It has been asked before, and the permission issues. Yeah, it's right now it's not looking like there's going to be any recordings, but we'll see. Laura Robertson, nice to have you here. Laura from Georgia, KO4 DFJ. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have? I'm not Chunk. Nice to have you on board. Did you hear about Shortwave listener picking up the UFO sighting audio from an airline pilot? Nope. Absolutely not. Seen anything like that. What else do we have? Let me just go down, try to make sure I'm not missing out on anybody. G. Lee, nice to have you here from Fresno, California, WA6120SWL. Nice to have you on board. Chuck Yunkin, will it pay me to get one? I like the keypad. I ordered mine on eBay, but we're going to talk about that a little later. Jilly, do you know if there will be recording ability on the shortwave? Yeah, it's that. Like I said, nobody wants to really be. Nobody is agreeing on being, having recordings or anything right now. A lot of them don't want to have any recordings because some of them are in jobs or in positions where they don't want no one to really know what they do. So that's the thing right now. Carlos Aguila, nice to have you here from Mexico, which is probably much warmer than it is here. Although in the high mountains, I know that it could be quite cool. Quite cool. Rich, nice to have you here from North Carolina. Jim, nice to have you here from Rhode Island. What else do we have? So, okay, cool. Thomas Bibish, nice to have you here, Thomas. So, hey, we are going to talk a little bit about my little new receiver. So I got it this week. Let me just pull on the wires because I don't want to pull out. So this is the Texan PL 368. It is the same size. If you look at, it's the same size as its little brother, the Texan PL 365, or also known as the Conicom GP5 SSB. What differs from the Conicom with this radio is a few little things. First of all, it is a more precise tuning system. So the display actually goes, and when you tune around, you can actually tune up to 10 hertz in precision. It has, of course, a keypad, which is something that dreadfully missing on the Conicom GP5. The Conicom I love, but what happens is the Conicom, I've been using pretty much only the ETM scan to search for signals because a lack of keypad makes it so hard and so long to go to certain frequency ranges that at some point you just like, yeah, I'm not going to, I want to listen to, 25,665. Yeah, this is going to take a long time before you get there. Here you just punch in the frequency, and that's it. You just punch in whatever frequency you want to hear, and that is a tremendous tremendous improvement over the CountyCom and the Texan PL365. Just for that, it's worth it to get this rather than getting the Texan PL365 or CountyCom GP5 SSB. So I got the orange. A lot of people are like, "Oh man, I wish I hope I'm going to get the black or the." You choose your color. It comes in, I think, 3 colors. It comes in orange, in charcoal, and in black. I chose orange because I wanted to have it different. I wanted to have a different color on it, and I like it like this. But you can buy it black, and there's no problem there. The problem with the orange color is that the writing is white, and if you have a little bit of, and it's small, so if you have a little bit of hard times reading well because of eyesight, it's not the easiest radio to read what's on the display or on the keypad and on the different buttons. Also, buttons are small, so if you are a guy that has really big hands and big fingers, you might be pressing 2 buttons at the same time. They are nicely spaced. I'm not a guy that has small hands, but I'm not a guy that got the big hands either. There's bigger hands than these for some guys. So for me, it's okay. It works well. But I can see that somebody that has big hands, bigger than I have, might find that it's a little small to kind of handle for sure. The radio has Etm Plus. What's Etm Plus? So, of course, everybody knows easy tuning mode when they have this one. This one works well with ETM, which is easy tuning mode, which makes you scan the international broadcast band and then comes back with a result of how many stations it found, and you can go through the different stations. ETM Plus is a little different. It adds the ability to have that scan by time. So every time you change time, it's going to tell you, well, now you're doing an ETM scan, and it's going to give you a number like E15. That means that's the ETM scan of 15 hours UTC, and so on. And so you can actually have up to 24 hours of ETM scans saved in the memory channels so that you can check out and go back and say, oh, what did I get at 0500 UT yesterday in my ETM scan? And you can actually go back and check out what you actually received. It's kind of a cool add on to the ETM scan itself. The ETM scan on this is much faster than on the CountyCom GP5 or Texan PL365. It is, when this radio is over doing its scan, the Texan PL365 is barely halfway done. So it's really faster. For a lot of people, the big problem with maybe it is the fact that it actually uses the BL5C lithium-ion battery. Now, here's I put the one that I actually have with my charger, but there's a Texan branded battery that comes with it. So, yeah, it's a BL5C lithium-ion battery that comes with it. So for some people, it might be a problem. I let it on yesterday. I turned it on around 11 a.m. and I let it go through 11 p.m. So it worked for 12 hours in a row, punching frequencies from time to time, doing a few things. And the battery was still full. So it doesn't seem to be using a lot of power when it's in use, which is really, really nice. Comes with the accessories that you have for the CountyCom. So it has the little ferrite antenna for medium wave that you stick here on the radio. Of course, it comes with a USB cable to charge. It has amazing precision, and it's already super precise when you're trying to tune around on some of the frequencies. So, for example, let me just go to go 5505 here. I don't know if I can hear something. 5450. Just going to try to find a little something here. Enter. Always when you want to find a signal that you don't. Let's go to the amateur bands here, 39.99. Put lower sideband. Of course, the tuning around is very precise. So if you look at the precision of that screen here, let me just show it to the screen here. The precision is up to the 10th of hertz when you tune around, which is very precise for such a small portable at that price point. So it's kind of cool for that. And so that's also something to look for, because it's kind of cool to see that the tuning. It mutes when you tune a little bit. That's for sure. It's a DSP-based radio. So that's one thing that might be a little sad. When you're tuning SSB fast, it actually jumps to 50 hertz. So that's something also to note, that you can do kind of a fast tune. It has several bandwidths that you can use. So in single sideband, it doesn't just have one, or even AM mode doesn't have just one setting for the bandwidth. It has several settings. Its ETM scan is good, as good, if not better than the, I will not say better, but as good, but it's fast, and as good as the Conicom GP5 Texan PL365. So the ETM scan works great in searching for signals. The sensitivity overall, amazingly good. It's a very good portable receiver. And the PL368 seems to be extremely, extremely good at receiving shortwave signals. I haven't done a lot of medium wave, long wave, but I know that it gets the majority of what I usually want to have as signals. In the FM mode, and FM, it actually receives the my beacon, my standard beacon that I call, which are, here I'm in a very noisy environment, but it actually gets the VPR station on 107.9 when I'm out of my room here very well. So it actually performs well on FM. It seems to be a good FM receiver. The telescopic is a little longer than the Conicom GP5, so it actually is could maybe be a little more sensitive because there's a little bit more length of antenna. Construction quality, I mean, you know, I find the construction quality of the Texan PL365 Conicom GP5 to be okay. I mean, I've had this for a few years now. I never broke anything and works great. Same thing about the PL368. I find that it's decent quality for what it is. It's lighter. There's one thing I have to say, it is lighter. And one of the reasons it's lighter is because the batteries. The old Conicom, or the old PL365, uses AAA batteries. And that adds to the weight of the radio. So that is something that shows, because the BL5C is much lighter. The other thing is, so the Conicom GP5 has a flaw that the battery drains by themselves over a few weeks. So if you leave batteries in, your batteries will be, completely dead when you get the radio. That is a flaw. That also means don't leave alkalines in it, because you'll be draining alkalines if you don't use it for a couple of months. Now, I haven't used this long enough to really see if there's some kind of drain in this one too, since it's been used every day. But you get pretty long battery life, and until now, I find that it's pretty good, and I'm very, very happy with this radio. It doesn't seem to have bugs. Like I said, this is the Chinese version, so the manual is in Chinese. Thanks to Google Lens on the smartphone, I've been just putting my phone and checking out the translation of the Chinese manual. Works really well, actually. with Google Lens, you can read the Chinese manual and go through. I still haven't learned every little detail. I suspect that, like the radios that have been released recently, there's probably some hidden features in the menus here that need to be checked up. Any negatives that I've seen as of yet? There is only one, and it was the fact that it doesn't seem to want and doesn't seem to have a way to keep the light on in the display. So that would be my first real complaint, because I do like in the darkness to have a radio that the display light the backlight is always on. This one doesn't seem to have that. Like the Konicon GP5 doesn't have it either. But overall, it's a great radio. Don't seem to have any bugs with the radio itself right now. So this is nice. Still, I would tell everybody, wait until there's the export version available on Onco, and then you can maybe get it. I have a hard time recommending. Anyways, if you need the manual to use it, first of all, if you buy the Chinese version, the manual's in Chinese, you're gonna have a hard time using it. And it's a complex little radio, so you got to play around with it for sure. And for the rest, when it's officially out, he's going to have an English manual and everything, and then you can maybe think about it. Interesting form factor, like the Texan PL365, and but it's I'm very happy. Honestly, what I will say, because people have a different outlook on it and everything. The quality of construction is as good as the Texan PL365 / Konicon GP5. It's not less. It's at least the same. If you have a Konicon GP5 / Texan PL365, is it worth it to get this one? If you answer the question, I'm going crazy tuning out of the bands because it's super long because there's no keypad and I'm going nuts, then you answer the question with a yes, you should get the 368. Do you need the 368 if you're happy as it is with the Konicon GP5 Texan PL365? You're not going to get a radio that's more sensitive. You're not going to get a radio that will get signals that your actual radio now already has. So it's really a question of keypad and a question of precision in the tuning, rather than using the fine tuning with kind of a plus or minus BFO kind of style of tuning around. And yes, it is a radio that is a receiver that is DSP. So what that means is that there's some muting when you tune around. It's part of what these DSP radios actually do. There's some muting when you tune, but overall, I am extremely happy. And this is what the original GP5 SSB or Texan PL365 should have been. Audio quality is the same, pretty much sounds the same. Is it a PL330 in a different form factor? I'm not totally sure, because it doesn't seem to obey exactly on the same rules, but I'll be looking at it in a little more. But it probably shares part of the Texan PL330 in receiver. If you're asking me, should I get a 330 or that? It will probably be more a question of what form factor you like. Do you like, a little tall rectangle radio rather than having a small, regular sized portable, ultralight portable? It's really going to be up to you at that point. There's going to be tests. Tomorrow I'm going to have more time on my hands. I've had a hard time getting some time to do videos. Yesterday I had zero time for videos. I concentrated on the important stuff. Today also a little bit. Tomorrow I'm going to have more time on my hands. I plan to post more videos of personal observations, reception with the Texan PL368. I also will be posting, starting tomorrow in the next few days, videos where I compare it with the PL330, the PL990X, and other portables that people usually buy, the XH Data, the C-Crane, Skywave, SSB, and so on. Then it will be up to you with what you see, what you observe, and maybe, partly with what I say. But if you're searching for a radio that has this form factor, when this radio gets out, this is definitely a winner. Receiver. It is more expensive than the Texan PL330 right now. I don't know if price will be matched in some way, but it is slightly more expensive than the Texan PL330 by about $20-25. So that could be also a game changer. Maybe for you, that's the extra $20 that makes a difference in what radio you're going to purchase. But extremely happy. A great little radio, can tell you that. If you guys have any questions on it, by the way, just ask in the chat room, and I'll answer to the best of my ability, for sure. Okay. What else do we have? Let me try to go down here and check out everybody. You, Kelvin Morgan, nice to have you here from the UK. Paul, nice to have you here from checking it from Southwest Michigan. Cheers. Nice to have you here. Aerial imaging build quality seems nice. I can't complain. There's nothing to complain. Plastic is plastic, and these radios are pretty much all in the same quality, basically. So this is really nice. Yeah, I purchased the yellow one. That's the one. When I saw that there was a yellow-orange one, I thought, oh man, that's the one I want. I don't want to have the black one. I want to have the yellow one. Donald Hosmer, nice to have you here. W8SWL in Northern Michigan. Gerardo, nice to have you here from Portage, Michigan. Pretty cool to have everybody on board. RJ88 Dakota says the Countycom radio was always a good portable, but the tuning is rough. I hope to buy the new 368. Well, that is the cool thing of the 368. It fixes that. Because honestly, if you told me, oh, pick a radio and we're going to tune around some frequencies, I never would bring the Countycom GP5. Because it's just too difficult to tune around outside of the standard frequency ranges, and you get to a point where you're like, try tuning the Super Bowl channel 27025, channel 6 on this thing, and tell me how long did it take for you to get to that frequency. You're gonna get to a point where you're like, oh man, I'm gonna throw this thing out the window. What saved this for me, honestly, the Countycom GP5, was the ETM scan. This is the first radio that had a ETM scan that actually performed really well. I had the Texan PL380, which was okay, but this one was clearly superior and faster. And that, is what saved it, because for checking out the bands, what stations are on, that was my go-to radio. I would choose a ETM scan, so I would use it for that, and you'd be in the international broadcast bands, which was okay. But anything that you just go around and tune around outside, oh God, please. This was dreadfully difficult. When we say that we shouldn't, I'd rather purchase my receivers most of the time. This is an example. So if you guys know, the Countycom GP5 was offered to me free by Countycom. which was they were very nice. And by the way, Conicom have these flashlights that are amazing. You should check out Conicom. The flashlights that I've got from them are extremely bright and extremely cool devices. And I use, they send me like 6 or 7 different lights. I still use them today, and I love them. I have one in my pockets of my jeans that uses only one AA battery. But I can tell you that thing is brighter than pretty much everybody's flashlight. When people say, what the hell, this flashlight is like crazy, it's like, yep, that's an amazing little light. So, they have some great stuff there that you should check out. But, I took about talking about the good stuff and everything. I tried to be a little diplomatic and always saying, well, it's missing a keypad. It's missing a keypad. And actually, they kind of maybe got a little, I don't know. They could have gotten a little frustrated with the fact that I didn't push it, maybe the way they thought it would be pushed. Because it's a fact that the Conicom GP5, Texan PL365, it's a good radio, but the lack of a keypad is going to drive you crazy when you want to tune around. So the 368 fixes that, and it's amazing. Jetcrafter, I love my Conicom GP5, but when I get the new PL368, I will be parting ways with it. You're going to start, when you start punching in on the frequency pad here, you're like, oh man, this is so cool that it works so well that you punch in just a frequency. And that's what you get. So I have to say, you can't compare that. It's having a keypad to punch in the frequency is great. What else do we have? Yeah, it depends on the lighting, because it could be kind of yellowish, but I would say it's kind of yellow more into the orange. If I put a lemon next to it, you'll see that the lemon is really yellow, and this will look very orange. It really depends on what you put next to it. Oh man, it's too far because there's an alligator clip there that's yellow. I don't have anything yellow here. Oh, here, look at that. So this is the color of a lemon. This is yellow. Maybe on the camera it looks a little more orange, but look. It's definitely, this is yellow. This is orange. It's more orange than yellow, honestly. It might look different. Depends on the lighting, and it depends on what you compare it with. But it definitely looks more like an orange color than a yellow color. Mellow yellow. Yeah, mellow yellow. I like that. It's like not full orange, like an orange, but not yellow either. It's really like in the middle. Jim Valley, Mr. Bell, nice to have you here from near Portland, Oregon. What else do we have? Stephen, operation of the 368 seems pretty similar to the new PL330. Think it's actually the same electronics and a different form factor. I think it's not exactly the same, but it is probably based on a similar circuitry. One thing for sure, they're all based on the silicon integrated 47, 34, 35 chips that are full-fledged receivers, DSP receivers on a chip, on a integrated circuit. So yeah, there's some, but when you ask for the firmware number, it doesn't bring you the same firmware number. So there are some differences. They have actually had some little differences, but they're very similar. And indeed, they're very, very similar. So the 368 cost me I believe it's $79 US when I purchased it. I'd have to go back and check my eBay on eBay, but it's something around 70-ish, 79-ish US dollars. So it's more expensive than the PL330. And to be fair, it's more expensive than the PL330 for a performance that is not better than the PL330. So, in terms of money paid, if you're getting the 330 at its cost of $59.99, it is a better deal technically. What else do we have? Dan, nice to have you here from Ohio. Terry Cook, nice to have you here from Western Montana, KF7BQ. Is the 3068 antenna movable when extended? Okay, you mean does it have a swivel or not? No, it doesn't. It stays stiff vertical. Stiff vertical. So it's not. You don't have any swivel or like on many portables that you have this little kind of swivel that you can have on it. This one does not. Nope. Like the Conicon GP5. Bubba Schwartz, nice to have you here, Bubba. Mark Schmidt, nice to have you here from Maine. Steven says he saw it at $77.98 US dollars on AliExpress. I would, like I said, I would wait for the. I would really wait for the export version just to make sure. And what else do we have? RJ88 Dakota. Yeah, you know what? So the GP5, because a lot of people are saying, well, because they obviously say that this plug here is for the AM antenna that comes with it. Same thing for the PL368, by the way. They do say here on top AM antenna. Here's the thing, okay? When you plug in a external antenna, because that's what I have here. This wire, the thicker wire that you have here at the bottom right now is going to my multi-coupler. So it's the Texan. It's the MLA30 that's here through the multi-coupler. The other wire here is to drive audio through my console so you guys can hear. Here's the thing. It doesn't quite do the job of a shortwave connector, but it does work because it probably does some coupling inside the receiver. So when I plugged in this wire and I plugged it in the GP5 SSB, it definitely works and it definitely helps in reception, but it's not technically connected to the circuitry for shortwave. From what I understand, there's inside the way that it's done, it's really, really made for the AM circuitry. But because it's very close and because there's probably some coupling effects, it works. And you know what? I played around with it last night with this and even the Conicon GP5, and I was actually satisfied with reception. So you can actually use it. That's for sure. That's for sure. So, for that, there's absolutely no problem there. And once again, for the pleasure of just tuning around. So here I'm going to do, just going to try it here. I'm going to do an ETM scan with the receiver. So here it goes. So we're getting at 8 p.m., 20 hours UTC. So it says E20 because it's telling me I'm going to do an ETM scan at 20 hours. That's the Etm Plus functionality. And now it's scanning. So we're going to let it do its scan and see what it actually receives and signals. It's technically plugged in on the MLA30 through my antenna coupler. So we're going to see how it goes with that. We're going to let it do its little job here. But it does work. That connector works if you plug in an antenna, external antenna into it. So absolutely. Cool AM radio. Nice to have you here, Andre. Always nice to have you on board. Trembelli, Mr. Bell, battery slowly drains. Okay, I'll slip a couple of pieces of paper between the batteries in contacts, like some new little products that take coin button cells. VT Radio, nice to have you here. Paul AA1SU from Essex Junction, Vermont. James Klein, is there a list of active shortwave radio station and broadcast time available? Yes, absolutely. There are many, and the one I use is eibispace.de. There are tons of lists of shortwave schedules out there. There's other websites also. Carlos Aguila, what's my take on the Texan AN48X antenna? I already own the MLA30, but the 48X has long wave and medium wave capability. Looks nice. It's no good. It's no good because it's a tuned antenna. You have to tune. So there's a tuning knob on the antenna itself, and you have to tune it always through the signals that you want to have. You know, the MLA30 is nice for that. There's no tuning. It just receives a certain bandwidth of frequency well. The AN48X, you have to tune always, depending on where you tune on the radio, you're going to have to tune the knob to match where you're listening. It's dreadfully difficult on some ranges to actually tune perfectly. And in some cases, it actually adds more noise than anything else. So honestly, I'd stay away from the AN48X. And honestly, the MLA30, even though not rated as it is fairly decent on medium wave. In long wave, you see that it cuts out slowly as you're going down and lower in frequency. But I would not get the AN48X, honestly. Mine is in a box somewhere, and I don't really care because I'm not going to use it again, probably. So, what did it already? It came up with 24 channels, it says here. So we're going to see. There's a lot of interference, so we're going to see. So it came with, of course, the radio teletype on 4005. Then something on 5010. Radio Rebelde on 5025. WTWW on 5085. WRMI on 5850. It's very noisy, but don't take that as the radio itself, because it's probably not the perfect setup that I have here. WWCR. Until then, there was also WRMI. 5970 in Spanish. Radio Havana, Cuba. Radio Marti on 6030. Weak, but HCJB on 6050. Document on the Rothschilds. WWCR on 6115. Everyone needs to know if they care about what's happening in this. Distorted China Radio and 6180. 6185, a little bit of music. It could be Radio Educación from Mexico. I wouldn't be surprised. Radio Marti, 7365, 7435, Radio Marti. You see the audio quality is pretty good. 7520. Publishing. This guide will help you 9385. Be minded in your daily life by demonstrating the 9605. Kind of interference here, but 1170 Radio Nacional Amazonas. So, it's noisy because it gets noise from my electronics here, but honestly, you could see that it's quite decent with even the ETM scan that I did here. So, kind of nice, honestly. No news yet, but if my receiver, Eric Cottrell, if the receiver I have is kind of, they fixed some of the bugs, because obviously I have none of the bugs that are reported on some websites. Maybe we're very, very close from a release of this receiver. I think we're not that far off. We're not that far off. K5 YVY, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Gerardo says, I wish it had airband in a portable radio like that. Yeah, that one does not have the airband, unfortunately. It's a long wave, medium wave, short wave. General coverage goes all the way up to 29,999 kilohertz, and FM band. The FM band does cover the expanded FM band 64 to 108, by the way, for sure. Bubba Schwartz from South Florida. Nice to have you here. What else do we have? Joseph Ickenbaum, nice to have you here, my friend. Always nice to have everybody on board. What else do we have? What else do we have? So from California, K5 YVY saying, don't forget to tap the like button. Cool. So cool. Welcome aboard, Bubba. It's a great place to learn more about radio and have fun. Keegan says the mechanical tuning on the Ethon Grundig Edition satellite became hard to turn late last year. Easier to turn now. Wow. Okay. Could be some lubricant problem or some kind of aerial imaging. As far as size, weight, I don't know if they're completely a different shape, but which one is bigger by volume, I guess, is one noticeably lighter than the other. If you're talking about the two, the Conicom GP5 versus the PL368, they're the same size. I had the impression there was a difference, but there's not. They're the same size, exactly. Display is slightly different. The display is numbers are a little smaller. The weight is only different because of the battery, from what I understand. The battery is because it's using a BL5C, it makes it lighter than 3AA. But you know, what else do we have? What else do we have? RTM Hazel, I realize now I should have used. No, it's okay for the donation. If PayPal is perfect. PayPal is perfect. I've stopped. I do have a Patreon, but I've stopped using Patreon. Actually, I've stopped in general overall asking for donations. They were very useful at one point. They got me through 2017 when lots of controversies over what's happening with YouTube made it difficult to monetize. But right now, it's okay. It's perfect. Jamali, Mr. Bell says orange yellow radio. Not going to lose this. It would be lighted up and flashing lights on it, and I'm still going to lose it if I have to lose it. I took the orange because I thought, it looks different from all the other radios. But ARTM is perfect that you have used PayPal. It's perfect. Rudolph White, nice to have you here from the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Dan, nice to have you on board from Ohio. I think I said it before. The Wind, 1960, nice to have you here from Central New York. Joseph says the GP5 has taught me that patience is rewarding. Yeah, for tuning, you got to be patient. That's for sure. God. Mag315, nice to have you here from North Carolina. Thanks for the info on the PL368. Looking forward to buying one in the future. No, it's not fluorescent. It's well, I haven't put it under a UV light, so I don't know. Actually, it could be. We never know. Bubba says, "What's a good shortwave radio with all ham bands I have? SDR dongle with cubic software, and I can't pick up anything up. Just FM radio, weather frequency, and local police." Depends what you have as a dongle. If you have the regular RTL SDR basic dongle, that's like $10. That does not get shortwave. If you have the SDR RTL SDR V3, you can get shortwave, but you have to change the way that it's. That I actually posted a video on my channel where I show you where in SDR console. And I think in SDR Sharp where to change the options to get shortwave on it. But you need to have a good antenna that's far away from your computer because of the noise. If you're looking at a radio, it depends what you want to have as a radio. If you want to stay in the SDRs because you like it, go and get a SDR Play RSP1A. It's 119, but from the start, you've got a great SDR that works well from long wave all the way up to 2 gigahertz, and no, you're starting off great. For portable receivers, there's so many out there that are great. Depends if if you want to have the ham bands, anything with SSB, so an XH Data D808 is great. A Texan PL660 is great. They are, not that expensive and are pretty darn good portable radios. I would add now the Texan PL330, which is also a very nice little portable, can tell you that. Carlos says, wish they had the safety yellow PL365 radio with the fluorescent buttons. Like, I would totally buy it just for the looks. Steven says, would have been cool if the keys were backlit. Yeah, that is something we don't see often on portable receivers, unfortunately. But it is true that at night, backlight on the keypad is actually a very good thing to find your way around. Thomas Olson, nice to have you here. What else do we have? The GP5 is a great radio. It's just, the only thing that GP5 needs is a keypad, because the rest, it's good, but it does need a keypad when you want to really start tuning around. It's the only thing missing, honestly. Peter Wong, nice to have you here. PL368 versus PL330. Both are great. It depends on, at this point, I would say will depend on the form factor that you actually want. Because honestly, for me, with the few days of testing right now, the PL330 and PL368 seem to perform pretty much the same. They have the same options and everything. Jetcrafter, what's the Super Bowl channel? So that's the channel 6 of the CB band where we that we call the Super Bowl channel, 27025, because that's where when the skip is on, that's where all the loud kilowatt CBers are actually, packing the frequency. So it's the Super Bowl channel is the channel 6 of the CB band, 27025. What else do we have? Mongoose, mustard color. Okay, mustard color. RJ88 Dakota, golden yellow on my TV. That sounds like, I don't know, something we would eat. Look at these golden yellow French fries. Banana Man. Oh, man. That sounds weird. 55 Stang, dude. Looks caramel. Okay, yeah, kind of. Yeah, close. Not that far. Absolutely. Aren't you? Says Kamexi 1976. Rich mango color. Yes, that would describe it. Mango colored. So from now on, I'm going to say this is the mango colored radio. Yes, it does. That resembles mango color. Absolutely. Mobile Armored Strike Command. DNS Canberra dish number 43, transmitting and receiving signals from the New Horizon. Wow. That is a far away space probe. William Moser. So, okay, on long wave, I would have to put the, so I'm going to try it right here. If I just type 248, let me just remember how to go to long wave with it. You know, when you don't use a radio that often, it's mostly because it's brand new. So here it goes. 248. I can't because it's not in the good mode. So I'm not sure where to go right now. So long wave. This is medium wave. Let's see if I get New York pretty good. 880. Is New York coming in?
Akin to hurricanes,
yeah, look at that.
Floyd, or any other major
That's
snowstorm
880
and weather event.
WABC from New York. WCBS, sorry, from New York.
This is an all-hands-on-deck moment where we in government must do everything in our power to assist and protect the people that we.
So that's the long wave, the medium wave. Sorry. So here, I need to check out. So it's stuck on ETM right now. I haven't tried long wave yet, and I'm not sure how to go to long wave with it. That's where a manual is useful. So, that's back to shortwave. Because here it does say long wave, medium wave. Yet, when I tune or press it, it stays on. It stays on. So I guess I will have to wait for the answer. Got FM, got medium wave, but I'm not getting long wave right now. So sorry, guys. I'll make a video. I'll check it out tomorrow. What else do we have? Steven, Silicon integrated DSP chips allow vendor to set different tuning mute settings in firmware. Would be cool if Texan could make mute on tuning user adjustable. Yeah, but if on the chip itself, no radios that use only that chip and no extra steps makes the muting at 0. All the radios that have 0 muting, look at an example, the Texan PL990X. It uses that chip. It's DSP based also. But there's an extra layer because it's a triple conversion radio. When you tune, there's no muting. And it's that extra step that makes it no muting. So I don't know if out of the box with that chip only, using that with circuit around it, if it is possible to actually remove the muting. I'm starting to wonder it might not unless you add really a lot of extra circuit around it. Randy, nice to have you here from Riverside, California. Jet Crafter, yeah, those creamsicle, yeah, that they were like orange on the outside with ice cream in the middle. Yeah. I know what you mean. Oh, those were good. And the summer night, and the summer eat, that was great. So the AJC is a little harsh, like all the others. So I don't know if we need to try to find a decent shortwave signal here with SSB.
A transgender in New Jersey's only women's prison has been hospitalized after being pushed into a wall by.
Okay, let's see here. If we go to 3800. 3800. I'm just gonna remove the. Oops, not upper, lower. Let's go here. I'm impressed with the precision, out of the box precision of the tuning. I need to find. I'm going to do something here. Yep, I think we're going to do that. I'm going to get my great radio for tuning single sideband, which is the famous PL990. And I'm going to use that to find a signal, which will be more interesting for me. And we're going to actually tune one of the single sideband signals I find here on the ConyCom by punching in the frequency. So let me go here. There's here, lower sideband. So let's check that out. Try to find a decent strength. Oh, 80 meters tonight seems to be dead here. Almost nothing. Oh. So there's something on 3615 lower sideband. Let's punch in the frequency of 3615 lower sideband. So when you start talking, lower sideband. Was I in lower sideband? So I don't know. They stopped talking, of course. Well, let's go even lower. I'm going to check 160 meter band. Okay, 1940, 1940. And here you go. This is very strong on this one. Oh, there's some radio breakthrough here. Interesting. So that'll be something to check out. Because there's some nothing like trying to find some strong single sideband signal. Doesn't seem to receive as well on 160 meters as the 990X does. Man, gonna have to find some decent signals to tune around in single sideband. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to try 40 meters. Unfortunately, it's the worst night to try that. But from a few signals, the single sideband signals I heard on the ham bands yesterday, what I would say is that it does have the harshness of the AGC that you see on the other receivers. So in case of the, let me just put this here. So you guys heard the Texan PL990X and the PL330. They're a little harsh on the AGC. It kind of shares that. Unfortunately, you know, a radio like that doesn't have any settings for AGC slow, or, you know, it's a question of really having the proper setting. But most of them don't play around with that pretty much. So Coolham Radio says, if I grow my beard till Christmas, yeah, I'll be yeah, it's adds a little too much black in it, because it would have been a perfect, if it was all white, would have been a perfect beard for a Santa. I know a friend of mine that is has this really huge beard. He could have been Santa anytime. His huge white beard. It's just amazing. Canadian Radio TV guy. Goodbye, Yellow Texan Radio, where the shortwave listeners of society called CQ can't have you. On my MLE30, I'm going back to my PL990X. Elton Jill. Yeah, instead of Yellow Brick Road, Yellow Texan Radio. Then you're gonna have that song. This is your song. And it's a little bit funny, the feeling inside. I'm not one of those who wants a Texan radio. I know I purchased too much, but I want to have a Texan 990X and a Sony, yeah. I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind. Yet I wrote down in words, I want an ICOM and a Kenwood, and that's what I want in the world. And that's my version of radio of This Is Your Song. You know, it'd be fun if this little moment with completely different lyrics actually gives me a copyright strike tonight. Oh, man. Model name and number. So radios, portable radios that are decent. XH Data E808 Texan L660. These are two models that are pretty good. Pretty good. What else do we have? Let's just go down here. Try to go down. Okay, let's try to. If I miss your questions, by the way, Yeah, that's usually standard, but you have to enable it, Joseph, in the settings, like the Texan PL330. Texan PL330 is 88108, but with the keypad tricks, it's 64108. Almost all the radios that have the DSP chip in it all go down to 64 with some keypad tricks, honestly. Cool, Bubba. Hope that you do feel welcome. This is the thing here. Jetcrafter, can you tune long wave directly now, or do you still have to change medium wave step? Yeah, I think I have to change the steps because right now it's not giving me long wave, so it probably has the same thing of changing the steps before I can do it. Because right now is it's not giving me long wave. It's giving me an error when I punch in the long wave frequency. What else do we have? Yeah, Anonco is a vendor. For Texan receivers, it's Anonco is the best place. Great service, fast shipping, and if you have something wrong, you just contact. And Anna is amazingly good at coming back and really without hesitation. Anonco is the place to get that. Carter, can you fix old shortwave radios from the 70s? Yeah, I'm sure there must be some places where you can get those fixed. What radio would you like to get fixed? Actually, an Allied SX190 shortwave receiver. Yeah, you need to have an old school guy that repairs radio. You could probably fix one of those radios. It's unfortunate, but it's great to. It's getting more and more difficult actually to get somebody to fix those old stuff. So yeah, this one has a tuning knob. The tuning knob is on the side right here. You punch in the frequency or you tune around with the knob, but it has some muting on the DSP side of things. What else do we have? Yeah, there is a tuning knob, Bubba. Mongoose, yeah, I do. From time to time, I've had a few contacts on it with a couple of guys around here. Absolutely, I do use it. It's actually turned on very often. I just let it scan the channels to see what's around, and I hear the CBers that talk. For sure. WNBC. What's the frequency of WNBC? I get WABC on 770. I get WCBS on 880. What's the frequency of WNBC? Yeah, even 900 megahertz phone calls are now pretty much gone on the VHF UHF range. Paul 6754 Trenton. Yeah, here it's the time of year where Trenton doesn't come in at night, pretty much. John Brocato, nice to have you here. Picked up a Kato Voyager KA500 at the local thrift store. Strip shop, new in box. Cool, $5. Can't go bad on that. Yeah, it does mute when you tune around. Hey, Kimberly, nice to have you on board from California. Aerial imaging, AGC, automatic gain control, is a circuit that is there to try to smooth out the output of your receiver. So an example of AGC functioning is, have you noticed that when you listen to a radio station on shortwave and it fades out, fades in, you never really adjust the volume because it's always kind of pretty much same volume. You just leave it there. You never play with the volume. And that's the automatic gain control that will react with that to make sure that you always have an experience that's technically pretty much in the same level all the time. When an AGC, so good, expensive tabletop receivers will often have settings for AGC. They'll give you a fast or a slow or a medium setting. That changes the time of reaction. So a fast AGC means that it reacts real fast to every signal fluctuation. And a slow AGC takes time to go back to a certain normal. So on single sideband, for example, where you will hear only a signal when their voice is talking, in between the voice, there's static. It's all or nothing. So if you have a slow AGC, what that does is that it takes so much time for the AGC to react to a zero level when nobody talks, that when they talk, it just smooths out the voice. You don't hear the static as much. It's easier on the ears. If you put AGC to fast, for example, you'll notice and hear the static in between each words of the spoken voice, which tends to be very difficult on the ears. So these little portables, most of them have no real setting. They have an AGC that probably reacts fast, and it's set like that for everything. On AM signals that fade in and out, it's okay. But on single sideband, that's where the audio becomes kind of harsh and a little difficult because it punches, because the AGC doesn't react in the right way. But the automatic gain control is there to try to smooth out things so that they are always equal, which makes it a lot easier on your ears when you're listening in to signals that change all the time. What else do we have? Rudolph White says here in Lehigh Valley, lots of complaints about the quality of the band on 80. Yeah, in the wintertime, 80 tends to have not be the best band in the winter. In the summertime is great. Summer evenings, 80 is great. Chaz Tank, nice to have you on board from Louisville, Kentucky. Beautiful and warm, 67 Fahrenheit. Wow, that's cool. That's outdoor radio weather. That's outdoor radio weather. Dr. Sisop, nice to have you here. We have, whoops. Let me check it out here. What else do we have here? Time to take your show on the road. Radio-related songs. Yeah, I don't know. With the different lyrics, I don't know if it's going to affect. We're going to see. Anyways, I can cut out that part if I don't. Canadian Radio TV guy says, hope don't mind. I wrote down in words I want to copyright shakings. Yeah. I want copyright strikes. Yeah, I have to sing bad. The problem is I don't sing that bad. Texan is a Chinese brand. Yes, absolutely. It's one of the biggest, probably one of the biggest Chinese radio makers that has some of the best radios out there. American Idol. Oh, man. What about the House of the Rising Sun? There is a radio that's a Texan just beside me and my icon. And one day I'll have a Panasonic and tune the bands until we get to 30 megahertz. Steven, Sanjian is good too, I think. Not sure. They may be Japanese design, but also Chinese manufacturer. Texan is a Texan. Sanjian is, I believe, a Taiwanese company. But most of everything is done in China. Panasonic left the shortwave radio market a long time ago. They have a couple of AM FM ones that are available, but for the most part, Panasonic is gone from the shortwave market pretty much. Terry Cook says Silicon Labs datasheet says that the signal to noise threshold at which the soft mute is activated is programmable in the firmware that the manufacturer uses. Huh. Kind of interesting. Hey, Fastload, nice to have you here from Montreal. What else do we have? What else do we have? Olivia on 5403.5. Interesting. Kimberly calling CQ on channel 5 on 60 meters right now. Chuck CP Davis. Notice that there are no major shortwave radio stations in Western North America. Yeah, Texan is a decent brand, honestly, for Chinese radios. Paul found a Radio Shack DX398 for $6.99 at Goodwill. That's pretty good. How to replace a dried out speaker. Yeah, that is the number one problem of all the DX398, aka original ATS 909. The speaker is the problem. It's mine, the one I have here, the speaker is gone too. I always plug in a external speaker on it when I use it. It is the number one problem, and a lot of them actually have that problem. I could hear 500 miles, and I can hear 500 more. Yeah, that's a good DX song. Absolutely. Yeah, Rush, Spirit of Radio. Absolutely. It's like Queen with Radio Gaga. So what else do we have? Yeah, BBC does broadcast on shortwave. The problem with most big broadcasters is a lot of them still broadcast. BBC, Radio France International. You'll have Voice of America. But they broadcast to target areas away from North America, which makes them a more difficult signal to actually receive on shortwave, because they're no more, like the BBC doesn't have any more broadcast directed to us. So North America is kind of left out a lot in shortwave. When you use online SDRs and you start tuning like in an SDR in Europe or Africa, or even worse in Asia, you notice that there the shortwave bands sound like the shortwave bands we had in the 80s and 70s here, because that's where a lot of the stations actually target now. So, but the BBC is still on. My best. There are two times when the BBC is not too bad. There's afternoon, sometimes 15400. One that comes in decently well in North America, 11810. That's like a 20 UT, roughly at about 20 UT, 21 UT, 21 UT. But my best reception of BBC is at 05 UT from Ascension Islands. 6005 is pretty good. Pretty good up here. What else do we have? So a lot of the stations are not aimed at us anymore. So that's what makes it a little more difficult to get these stations. Yeah, Drake receivers have been known to be pretty good, like the NRD 525, the Japan Radio Corporation ones were pretty good too. There's a lot of great radios out there that were made over time for sure. Check CB Davis, 5800, Radio Prague on 5800. So that's pretty good. I don't know how well it comes in here. 5800, 5800. And I don't know how good.
The opening scene of the book, in which a small boy called
Yeah, it's there. It's not super strong, but it's there.
An unusual object in his parents' orchard with his little spade.
When he has finished, he is out of breath. On the ground in front of him lies some sort of bowl, which is strikingly long and narrow and has a strange fit striking out of it.
So 5800 Radio Prague via WRMI. That was on the Texan PL368. Take care, Cool AM Radio. Stay safe. I can hear it. Oh, yeah, I can hear it in the air tonight. Bubba still has his old QSL cards. That's cool. That's fun to check them out and go through the collections. That's for sure. That's for sure. Hello there, Ari. Panasonic RF 3500. What's that? Panasonic. RF 3500. And these are mostly vintage. They're not made anymore. If there's some new ones out there, they've been around for a long time without nobody opening the box. What else do we have? Radio Lens, nice to have you on board from British Columbia. Pretty cool. Shortwaves did change a lot, Bubba, but there's still a lot of stuff to listen to, honestly. When you start listening in, there's still quite a few things in there. But it's certainly not like it was. That's the first, I think that's the first shock, probably. Probably of people that haven't listened for a long time. Yeah, Radio Australia. That was a big one. Well, Radio Moscow is not on shortwave anymore, so that's why they're not broadcasting to North America. When they did with like 38 frequencies. Make sure that we were listening. Man. Aerial imaging or Panasonic RF B45, some kind of a magical freak on medium wave. Does better with its internal farad than anything else have connected to an outside antenna. Yeah, well, usually there's an SDR playing there, but it's not connected. So I thought that I'd just put the world map on the screen for tonight. Hey, Yogi, nice to have you on board. So it's kind of cool to check out what's on the bands, but it's definitely better. Definitely better. Then stay safe, Thomas Olson. You're watching the Shortwave Show. Don't forget, guys, that the next show is not Saturday. It's going to be Sunday because there's the Nassau Virtual Winter Shortwave Festival Friday and Saturday with lots of lectures and some really, really good stuff that we're going to see there. That means that, and a lot of you guys are participating too. And I want to see all the different things. So it's Friday and Saturday. So because of that, I've moved my show for this weekend to Sunday at 20 hours UTC. So this coming Sunday, February the 28th at 20 UTC is when we're going to have the show this weekend rather than Saturday. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see the different presentations from the Shortwave Festival. It's really going to be really nice. So it's I think interesting also that there's a that they actually have it virtual this year because of COVID, and this is one of the things that I'm looking forward to. Some really nice stuff in there. What else do we have? The Russian buzzer is on 4625. Jim Bally, Mr. Bell. It's 4625. The woodpecker Bubba is gone, but it's replaced with other types of radar. There's all sorts of other types of radar today that are available. That some kind of resemble a fast woodpecker if you want. There's still quite a lot of little things in there, I can tell you that. So apparently there's a possible pirate on 6925 right now. I'm going to try it out, but I do not expect to hear 6925. Nothing in here. J, short answer only. Favorite portable short SSB shortwave handheld. I'll have to put, after thinking, after really thinking deeply, Texan PL990X because of its ease of tuning. But if you take out that more expensive portable, I would probably, if you don't like soft mute, Texan PL660. If soft mute is not much of a problem, the XH Data D808. That's what I would actually choose in order depending on what you want. So it was not as short as you wanted as an answer, but it had different capabilities or different answers depending on what you want or don't want in it. But if I had to choose one and only one and had the possibility to have only one, I would have the 990X. That I would go directly there mostly because the tuning is so nice on single sideband, resembling much more a much higher end radio with its very precise tuning. That would definitely be, if I had only one, if you tell me, okay, only one radio and you can't have, in your portables, you cannot have any other radio anymore, I'll take the Texan PL990X. I have to say that's what I would choose. It has everything I need, including the ATS, which is a kind of an ETM scan. It's very precise tuning, makes it nice. And I found myself using the Bluetooth pairing quite often with my phone to listen to some stuff, some podcasts. Great audio, great sound out of it also, which is really, really nice. Chris, G7VEO went to Virtual Amfest, didn't come back with bags of radio stuff. Yeah, that's the big difference. You're not coming back home with tons of junk or whatever. So Jay says 990X, 660, and D808 got it short enough. Trembelli, Mr. Bale, how about a couple of videos of using that Kiwi Sdr at that university in Netherlands? I had a few. I do have a few videos, but you know what? Maybe one of the things that would be needed off of not just the U20 SDR, but also the Kiwi SDRs in general. A few explanation videos of how to use them to the max, because there's a lot of things you can do with these online receivers that people don't know. You can really, you can expand that waterfall. You can do so much with them. When you start really knowing how to use them, you can even have recording of the audio and download that recording to your computer if you want. There's all sorts of things like that, and people use really the minimum amount of this different options on these online receivers. So, Yarabamba, the excitement, I think, is the same in the sense of getting signals is still exciting. Where I would say maybe some might not be as excited. It depends on what end of the scale you're at on shortwave. If you are purely a program listener, I think shortwave is not exciting anymore for most of them, because there's not a lot of choice in program listening. Thanks to WRMI, because without WRMI, man, North America evening would be dead. But a program listener might not feel as excited. A DXer still feels excited because there's still a lot of signals from all around the world to listen to and to get. But a program listener might not be as excited. I would say that it depends on the category of listener you are. Jay says, I think that's the big thing for me. I want something I can take on the road without logging my huge HF rig around. Okay. Those portables are pretty amazing, honestly, and they're not big. They are really, really nice to go around with, for sure. Donald Osmer says Anonco has the PL660 on special for $89 US. That's a good deal, absolutely. The Texan PL660, if you have one radio, you want to have one radio for shortwave. It does not have soft mute, which is cool. And it performs well on single sideband. It performs well on shortwave, has good sound quality. PL660 has airband. For $89 US, I think that is one of the best radios you get for the price, technically, without having any of the soft mute and stuff like that SDR based DSP based portables are. But PL660 is great. It's one of the best portables out there, I can tell you. That's for sure. It's hard to beat in reception and how it works. That's for sure. What else do we have? 151160. What's on 151160? Trimballing Mr. Bale. I hear it's the 19 meter band is pretty much dead at this time of night. At this time of the year. If it'd be in the summer, I'd say yeah, but then at this in February, 15 megahertz is pretty much closed now, for sure. So this is here. So like I said, overall, the Texan PL368 is a pretty decent radio. I noticed while I was checking out earlier 160 meters, there's a little bit of breakthrough, so that's something I'm going to have to investigate a little more. I'll, of course, have videos coming back with long wave, medium wave reception. Medium wave seem to be pretty good, let's try a few. Let's try 1010. 1010 is usually Toronto, but sometimes it could be WINS also. So 1010 is 1010 coming in well. Let me just remove a single sideband. Here we go. So 1010.
An update to the story we first brought you yesterday. Police say they found human remains
Now that's with the MLA30 outdoors. It might not be in the perfect direction for Toronto. If I look at 1130, that's Bloomberg 1130 on in New York.
Generally speaking, just about every major index is moving to the upside. So let's run through some of these numbers. One of the biggest gainers of the day today would be the Kospi, up 1.9%. That's a 57 points.
Online.
WFAN New York, WFAN 660.
Good. Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com.
So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Seems to be good, but it's on the outdoor MLA30 right now. Paul, using AirSpy HF Plus with SDR console. Windows 10 can't figure out how to use the CW decoder. Install the virtual cable, but not go so far. Any tutorials for dummies out there? Okay, yeah. The audio is not going. So what you mean is the audio from the CW decoder is not getting it from the software. In Windows 10, you got two choices. You have, depending on the machine you have, so on my machines here, the one I use there, the one I use here, I don't need any extra. When you go to the device manage, let me just go here. I don't want to say it. So you can go to the control. You can go to the control panel. And in the control panel, there's some sound settings. There you will see playback, recording, and so on. And the recording, one of the things that you can enable, and a lot of people don't see it, is the stereo mix feature, which is on a lot of sound cards, something that can already be default. And to do that, you need to sometimes right-click in the panel, and you got to put a check mark in front of what says "Show disabled devices" and "Show disconnected devices." And often it will be kind of grayed out, and you can actually bring it back. And the stereo mix is already pretty good to drive audio throughout the system for the different software. Now, if your sound card does not have that, then again, you'll have to use an external. You'll have to use an external software that does a virtual cable, audio cable within Windows. You got to make sure that the software you use knows the virtual cable. So in the software, depending what you use, you have to choose the virtual cable. Tell it that, yeah, you're going to use that device for output. And your CW decoder needs to know what's the device where the audio comes from. And you'll have to choose that virtual audio cable in that setting too, because it needs to know where it comes from. Sometimes it gets a little tricky, for sure. So that's something to check out. Old Hand says, I have an MFJ loop antenna. Question I have is, would rotating the antenna make it any difference in reception for different regions? So from a loop antenna on shortwave, on very far away signals, so signals that would be, from Europe, from Middle East, Africa, whatever, when they come from far away, there's very little difference on the shortwave. Local, more signals that are closer to you, you will see. For example, here, I got an MLA30 out there. If I listen to, say, Radio Romania from Europe, directly from Romania, and I rotate, because I don't have a rotor, but I can manually twist it if I want, I see almost no difference. But if I tune CHU time signal, which is only about 100 miles away, now that is so close that it does have a directional pattern for me. And there is a difference when I rotate. I can actually almost null CHU. Most instructions for shortwave, most that will say, how do you set up the loop? Most will say, just choose the lowest noise and leave it like that, which will be the best setup probably for whatever you want to do. Now, that said, if you go down to the medium wave and long wave bands, if you listen to those stations there, long wave, medium wave, there you will need a rotor, because not a router, but a rotor, because rotating the antenna definitely will help your medium wave, long wave DXing, because these signals are closer, and definitely rotating will change the pattern of what stations you're going to use, especially on signals that are when, like on medium wave, often there's like multiple signals on one same frequency. Sometimes you can null out one and listen to another one. And of course, you can enhance and maximize the signal level on medium wave, long wave by rotating the antenna, that absolutely. But for shortwave in general, rotating is not that much, doesn't change that much, except for stations that are really close to you. I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast parts of North America. Anyone know which Malachite radio to buy? Yeah, the one from Russia, the export. You have to ask the guy from Russia if you want a real one. Apparently, you have to contact the guy, tell him you want one, and he's going to build it for you. Because the Chinese ones are far from having the same performance. They're cheap, though. And depends what you want to have, you know. Carlos says under $100, XX data D808. Yeah, great radio. PL330, great radio. PL660, 680, great radio also. PL880 is great. Honestly, the PL880 is as good as the 990X. It just misses out on Bluetooth, stuff like that. So you can save money if you buy a higher end one. Get the PL880, which will be about 150, 160, and you're going to save money rather than buying the PL990X. What else do we have? Now, the radios that we actually have here and talk about here, Bobo, have all have the same frequency range pretty much. They're all general coverage for the shortwave bands, medium wave, long wave, and so on. A couple of them have an added capability, the air band for local airports and airplane monitoring. Right now, Mongoose, my unit in CB is on my sloper in my backyard, which is not necessarily the best, but it works. It works. It works decently. And the standing wave is not too bad, actually. So, no problem, hold hand. What else do we have? Radio Lens, but Nui, take care. Stay safe. Larry Cordy, nice to have you here from New York. So, you know, it's mostly that when you come back to the hobby after such a long time, you kind of get a little shock in seeing how it's changed over time compared to what it was. But, you know, you've still got some stuff to listen to. Here, for example, let's check out the signal of radio. I have a lot of noise from the computer stuff here. This is Radio Havana, Cuba, but it usually is better than that. I've got some noise coming in from the computers and all. There's that frequency at 90 U's, right? That's not very good. I'm not set up really well with the Texan PL368. And remember that the PL368 has the antenna input on top is good for EM, but it's not exactly made for shortwave. It is going to enhance and work if you put a plug in there, but it's not made for shortwave technically. Yogi, can you do Ft8 locally with a remote Kiwi Sdr? The Kiwi Sdr being online and the fact that Ft8 requires the clock to be perfectly synchronized, I'm not sure you can decode Ft8 through an online receiver because the delay might be too much for that to actually work. The export, yes, the 368 has soft muting. And I've not completed my test, but it compares very well to the 330 right now, from what I see. But I'll need to be testing it a little more because I've noticed a few little things, including one tonight about a little bit of FM breakthrough, it seems, on some of the bands. But I want to make sure that it's not because of the way it's set up right now. But it does soft mute, absolutely. Absolutely. Whole hand related question. I have the MFJ bias T amplifier for my loop antenna, which works really well, but I've been wondering if there is any device that would also work with my discount antenna. Okay. So the bias T is actually there to give power to your loop antenna because it's an active antenna. A discount is a passive antenna. So they're not in the same league. What happens is that your loop antenna has an amplifier for the signals it receives. So of course it needs a bias T to have or give the power to that amplifier. The discount that you have is a passive antenna. So yes, there are some amplifiers that antennas can be plugged into, but in general, antennas like a discount will not require that, and you won't need to use any of that. Also, I don't know if you're using the discount for shortwave. If you do, keep in mind that a discount, most discounts that are out there, because of the size they are made more for higher frequencies like the VHF, UHF range. A discount for shortwave would be much, much bigger. And so they're not done and they're not made to be used technically at the shortwave level. Even though it's better than having no antenna, it's not the best antenna you'll have. Bonne nuit, TVDX, sir. Prends soin de toi, à dimanche. What else do we have? Yeah, there are some Trimbali, Mr. Bell, there are some modes that don't necessarily decode well. Some because of the delay. Some also because maybe of the bandwidth. The audio bandwidth isn't large enough for all the data to come through. So that's possible. So, Kenny Radio TV guy says there's about a 2-minute delay in Web SDR. Yeah, it depends on the SDRs. I had some that had very, very small delay, like about 10 or 15 seconds. But for FT8, that's way too much. FT8 really does not at all, work if you have more than 1 second delay. It really requires to have precise time. Rudolph, take care, my friend. Stay safe. Gonna miss the performance of Moscow Nights. Yeah, but the problem is what happened right now. I'm using the MLA30. It's kind of complicated for me to do the alligator clip thing, especially here in the office. I have so much noise with all the electronics around me. It's just going to make a lot of electronics, a lot of noise, and not really help much, honestly. So, but in the test, I will have something to test out that will be much better. Lacey, yes, that's a CB here. That's the Uniden Bearcat 980 SSB. Which works great. So absolutely, there's a CB in the background. So that's part of the shortwave spectrum, and it's a lot of fun to play. So I got this around Christmas as a gift from one of the viewers, and it's really nice because I had quite a few contacts with it. My sloper is nice on the CB, but it's not all it could be. That's where I can't wait to put up my discount, my Tram 1411 discount, because it has that whip on top, and it is actually designed to be able to work with the CB radios. So maybe that's going to be my CB antenna when I actually put it up, when one day the snow is going to melt and one day it's going to be beautiful, and one day I'll have that set up and work real well here for my listening experience, especially on the VHF UHF range also. RFA Radio Free America. Who makes Ethon shortwave radios? A lot of them are made by Texan, actually, and some are made by. So there's different Chinese manufacturers, actually. Ethon is that brand that takes radios from everywhere and just brands them as Ethon, and that's it. So there are a few Ethon receivers that are made by Texan. There's some by Degen, and there's a few of them that are made by Retson, which is another company that makes shortwave radios. So, for example, anybody that has the CC Skywave radios, most of them are made by Retson in China. There's not a lot of Retson branded receivers. They seem to make radios for other brands and show up at different things. I do have one here, a Retson RP 200, 300, that I should take out one day, a very small portable. But there's not a lot of Retson receivers, branded receivers. It's really, really like other brands and like Ethon and the C-Crane radios that are made there. So NH Olmsted, love the on-the-air sign as well. Just catching the show. Thank you. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Nice to have you on board. You have 350 CB radios? Wow. You must be surrounded by CB radios. Waterfall Guy, nice to have you here. Bought the Redicus V115 and was very surprised how well AM and FM receives. It's the V115. I owned one for a while, but there was a weird battery leak in it. It's what it is for the price that it is, and the fact that there's even a keypad. That's so surprising. Where it is problematic is the fact that the V115 has so much noise from the circuitry, so it makes reception on shortwave is almost impossible. There's very, very little shortwave reception because mostly of that noise, and here there's the FM breakthrough in it. But it's such a crazy thing to think that the V115 was not only a shortwave AM FM radio, but it has a keypad. It is an MP3 recorder in it. And let's face it, that speaker on the V115, when you play music, is darn surprising in its audio. And all that in something that's like $18. Pretty crazy stuff when you think about it. Aerial imaging in the US, GMRS and MURS is much more active than CB anymore. Do they have a similar set of VHF, UHF bands for public use in Canada? Yep, we have GMRS. So we had FRS GMRS. It's different from what you guys have in the US because here GMRS is not licensed. We don't need a license to use the 22 channels of GMRS. I actually have a couple of talkies here for GMRS. GMRS had a peak a couple of years ago where there's a lot of activity, but it's kind of faded real fast. So GMRS here in Canada is, here in Montreal at least, there's a little bit of stuff, but it's definitely quiet compared to what it did maybe 5 or 10 years ago. And so there is definitely probably, I don't know, I'd have to, it's interesting because the CB band here isn't dead. There's a few locals that I hear all the time, and there's a few things that I tend to check out, and I mean, I sometimes leave the CB here scanning 40 channels with the squelch on, and I'm surprised to hear quite a few things, but is that it seems to be a family thing, like parents buying these talkies to talk with their children and having fun with these little things more than anything else. But definitely 5 or 10 years ago, there was more activity than there is now. It's really has been kind of there was a fast peak of there was a lot of activity. I remember the first one that I had, I was scanning all the time. There's always something. There's always somebody out there. Now, not much. It kind of faded away. It's as if walkie-talkies are not in for anymore or something. It's kind of weird. So, no, most RJDA Dakota, most of the Ethons are made by Retson, more than St. Gian. There could be a couple of models by St. Gian, but kind of interesting. Canadian Radio TV guy, I feel a tune coming on. It's not all it could be by Gilles in the 10-meter band. Waterfall guy says Shortwave is a bit disappointing, but having an MP3 player makes it a great radio for the price. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's tough to beat the price of that little thing. That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, realistic radios were made by different companies, and St. Jean was a big manufacturer back then. Kimberly says, K6YYL, what I really like about a 60-meter band is that there are rules like not exceeding 100 watts ERP, which puts up on a more equal playing field. Yeah, definitely. Bubba, what do you think of the Galaxy 98 VHB? I'm not a big connoisseur. I'm not a guy that knows a lot about CB radios, the different models of CB radios. I know the brand names like Galaxy. I know that that's one of the President, all of that, the big names that were always there. But I don't know much about most of them in general. Yeah, here the Pro 2006 still works. It's an amazing little scanner radio of the time. Man, that thing scanned so much of the cell band frequencies, the analog cell band at the time when all of that was happening. Lou Braga, K3TPP from New York. Nice to have you here. The SDR Uno IF gain and RF gain is like flying blind. You have no way of knowing where the levels stand except for the overload warning. Not really. You have a much clearer view of that, and you can actually change the view and even have the gain numbers there. The RF gain on the software, like our SDR Uno, for example, you put it at a level and you just leave it there. Once you set up at a decent level where there's no overload or anything, because that depends on a lot of things. The overload can depend on local stations you have, can depend on how close you are or where you are with some of the shortwave signals being very, very strong. one of the things you never want in any of these software is to push the RF gain at max. You don't want that. It's not useful. You're actually going to deteriorate signal reception rather than helping most of the time. I put mine at 75, 80%, and then just leave it there and never really touch it. Chris says CB, PMR, and AM radio having a big revival in UK during lockdown. Cool. I had heard last year that there was some it has continued, because there were some news that ham radio was kind of getting a revival a little bit last year with COVID. People had time to do stuff, and ham radio was part of it. There were more people wanting to pass their ham license apparently at one point. So what else do we have? The export. I'm hoping Texan or Saint-Jean make a radio with a waterfall. I think it's fiscally possible. Yeah, I don't know. That goes much more to a very specific audience. So I don't know. We'll see. Who never knows what happens. Texan seems to have said that the latest radios, like the Texan PL 990X and all of that, are the last real high-end radios they're actually going to make. Joe Tyson, yeah, when I talk to someone, you take your cell phone. Absolutely, that's for sure. Aerial imaging, I think maybe we use GMRS differently in the US with the license that you just buy. You can run power through GMRS like 50 watts. Yeah. You guys have the ability to have repeaters. It almost sounds like an amateur stuff. You guys have licenses, have the ability to run repeaters and stuff like that. Here in Canada, that is not permitted, and the maximum power is 5 watts. You know what, Trimbali, Mr. Bell, I don't think that SDR Uno will want to have AirSpy HF Plus, because AirSpy is not a good player. AirSpy is preventing SDR Play from using SDR Sharp. It's not that SDR Play doesn't want to be on SDR Sharp. What I've heard is that the AirSpy company is preventing the SDR Play devices from getting on SDR Sharp. So if that is exactly the case, that means that, forget it. You will not have AirSpy on the SDR Uno software, which is made by SDR Play. And that goes both ways, usually. I've heard a lot of stories on AirSpy that are not very, very nice, honestly, on the way that they deal with others and on the way that they do things. If you really believe that your device is better, because I don't think it is, not from what I see and not from what I'm using right now, why not let the competition use the same software and and be at the same level that you are? That's all I got to say, and it's my personal opinion. What else do we have? Donald Osmer says we'll see what the PL368 does with that jack. Dmitry Larunovich have the Grande Yardboy 400, and here 5000 WWE time station. I had a Yardboy 400 for a while. I liked it. It was a nice little radio, I can tell you that. It was really, really nice. So, hey guys, I'm a little tired tonight. We're going to say goodbye after 2 hours and 30 minutes. Hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Remember, the next show will be Sunday instead of Saturday. That's very important to know, at 20 hours UTC. For all of those that have subscribed to the NASWA virtual event coming up Friday and Saturday, hopefully we might actually crash into each other at some point. during the different events and the different presentations that they will have. One thing for sure, the presentations look extremely interesting. There are quite a few of them that look really cool. And I don't know. I still don't really know, but we might want to check out the voice of Pancho Villa, pirate that usually lurks on Shortwave Festival night. So that's something we're going to check out. And who knows what's going to happen. So take care, everybody. And if we don't see each other on the Shortwave Festival, well, you know what? We'll see each other on Sunday in the live show. Hope that you enjoyed the show tonight. I want you guys to take care. Stay safe. And more videos coming up with the Texan PL368. And comparing it also to the CountyCon GP5 / Texan PL365, Texan PL330. And my official review that I plan to have possibly by the end of tomorrow after testing it a little more tonight and tomorrow. So we're going to see. If not, it's going to come early next week at the latest. So take care, everybody. Stay safe. Love you all. And hope to see you soon. Good night. Moscow nights, please. I was hoping to fade away without having to do it. So, all right. Here we go. Midnight in Moscow. Our Moscow nights. Which was something that was very... We heard so much, those that have been listening to Radio Moscow for a long time. I think it's something that we all remember fondly from the good old days of Shortwave. Bye, everybody. No, not much arm twisting, absolutely. This is Radio Moscow World Service, broadcasting on 47 frequencies to North America. I gotta say, listening to this makes me go back to my teenage years of shortwave listening. Welcome to the United Communist Shortwave Country of the world. Kimberly woke up with Moscow Nights in her head. Make me think of, did I ever dream or have a dream about shortwave at one point in my life? Probably, but I don't remember. Problem is, there's so many dreams that we have, we just don't remember. Oh, this morning, because we were thinking about the live show today. I remember listening to Radio Moscow near the top of the hour sometimes for the only purpose of hearing this song, which I wanted to listen to. And I was so sad when they had only a very small portion of it, or not at all, because they were too tight in the schedule. And this was the Moscow Nights for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the show today. And we'll end with another very quick little moment,
ask Mickey about
which is Sweden calling the Xers. From 1980 on Radio Sweden.
Welcome to edition number 1575 of Sweden Calling the Xers. And today's program was compiled with the help of 65 contributors.
Take care, everybody.
This week we'll start off with some publications. First of all, Mickey Vassella has just published the third issue of External Services of African Stations. That's issued on a regular basis each March, May, September, and November as a free supplement for the subscribers to QTH Africa, which comes out every 10 days. External Services of African Stations is also available separately for 2 IRCs, and that's for airmail anywhere in the world. If you're interested, you could write to QTH Africa, Post Office Box 28250, Pretoria, 0132, South Africa. You can also ask Mickey about QTH Africa itself, because that's a very interesting guide to changes in the African radio scene. We've received the first issue of the monthly reports of the Asian Broadcasting Institute. It's 7 pages in length, and this issues a comprehensive listing of schedules of various stations in China and Taiwan. A 12-month subscription costs 4,000 yen for overseas airmail, and they say that they want to be paid in yen, so you're going to have to go to your local bank.
First, the main points of the news. At the CSCE Foreign Ministers meeting in New York,
Radio Berlin, last broadcast, October 2nd, 1990.
You're tuned to Radio Berlin International, the voice of the German Democratic Republic, with a program of news, current affairs and features for listeners in Europe. We begin with the news.
First, the main points of the news. At the CSCE Foreign Ministers meeting in New York, the GDR has acknowledged the duty of Germans to help preserve peace. The GDR Parliament is meeting in Berlin today for the last time before the unification of the 2 German states. Britain has come out against permanent UN Security Council membership for Germany. The United States House of Representatives has called on President George Bush to concentrate on diplomacy in solving the Gulf crisis. And now the news in detail. With a statement acknowledging the duty of Germans to help preserve peace, the GDR has ended its cooperation in the Conference on Security and Cooperation in Europe, the CSCE. Addressing the Foreign Ministers meeting in New York, GDR Education Minister Hans-Joachim Meyer